A regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District will be held Monday, April 24th, 2023, beginning at 5 p.m. in the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom of the Administration Building at McAllen Independent School District, 2000 North 23rd Street here in McAllen. Items listed on this agenda may be taken in an order other than as shown on the agenda, and unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within the consent agenda will be acted on at one time. At this meeting, there may be discussion and action by the board on the items and subjects listed as followed. 1, call the meeting to order. 2, the invocation. Trustee Suarez, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Everyone, please rise. Dear Lord, we gather to plan for the benefit of our children, administrators, and support staff of our school. May everything that we do begin with your inspiration. Help us to make good decisions. We come from different walks of life to unite the efforts for the sake of our schools. Send your blessing upon us. May the work be the beginning of thoughts of your power. Grant us what you know we need. We pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Dr. Gonzalez, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to move on to item number 4, the public comment section of our meeting. The board encourages public comments at all board meetings according to board policy BED, local board meetings public participation, and related district administrative procedures and practices. Persons wanting to make a statement to the board are required to register with the superintendent's secretary 1 hour prior to the start of the scheduled meeting. Audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the early stages of the meeting. At all other times during a board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board unless requested. Each participant is limited to 2 minutes per meeting to make comments to the board. At a regular board meeting, the board shall permit public comments regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. At all other board meetings, public comments shall be limited to only items on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. The board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. If an issue mentioned is on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion of the issue until the appropriate time during the meeting. Should the speaker drift from the stated subject or become disruptive or abusive, he or she shall be given 1 warning. If a second warning is required, then the speaker may forfeit the remaining time allotment. The board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. The board has adopted complaint policies that are designed to secure at the lowest administrative level a prompt and equitable resolution of complaints and concerns. Please refer to the following policies. For student and/or parent complaints, that's policy FNG. For employees, that's policy DGBA. And for citizens, that's policy GF. Copies of the district policies are available on the MISD website at www.McAllenISD.org. Our first speaker of the day is Mr. Jesse Borrego. Mr. Jesse Borrego. No sign of Jesse Borrego. One last call for Jesse Borrego. We move on to Amanda Muir. She would like to discuss the proclamation regarding Mental Health Awareness Month. Good evening, Ms. Muir. How are you today?
Good evening. My name is Dr. Amanda Muir. I just would like to say hi to PMG. I posted the link to this meeting, so this may be one of the most watched meetings. 70,000 physician moms are waiting to see me speak. So I'm here to talk about mental health awareness. I have 3 children at Leonelo Gonzalez Elementary, and the agenda item about mental health awareness is probably one of the biggest issues facing our children in 2023. There's many reasons: anxiety, depression, and we can talk about why these happen. Could be bullying, could be social media, but one of the things that should never happen, and should never ever happen, is the adults around them should ever fail them. You all are on this board because you're problem solvers. That's why you're here. I'm a problem solver too, and that's why I'm here. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had your head slammed onto a desk? Because I never have. My 8-year-old second grader had her head slammed on the lunchroom table by another student. And what would you want to happen if you were the parent of that student? What would you want to see happen? Would you want to do everything to prevent that from happening again? Have you ever been punched in the face? I've never been punched in the face ever in my life, but my 6-year-old kindergartner got punched in the face at school, told the coach, and nothing happened. So what's going on at Gonzales Elementary that my students are getting failed? So we set up a meeting with the principal. We wanted solutions. We're problem solvers. We proposed solutions, but in her words, and I'll quote what she said to both my husband and myself, kids just get hurt. And so because you all are problem solvers, and I know there's a big election coming up, and there are parents watching and listening and wanting to know how this will go, I implore you to do something and solve this problem, because I'm going to do everything I can to solve this problem for my children, since there's a complete void of leadership at Gonzales Elementary, and I implore for your help to solve this, because I don't believe that my children should have to face in-school bullying or violence, and I don't think any other children at the school should have to face that either. Thank you for your time. I yield the rest.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, we welcome Vanessa Nelson to discuss swim facilities. Good evening, Ms. Nelson.
Good evening. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the board for listening to the concerns that were recently expressed regarding MISD swimming and the row natatorium specifically. It is my understanding that the board is considering partnership with the City of McAllen to invest in a new pool facility. I also understand that the board is actively working to improve the facilities MISD currently has at the row natatorium. I want to encourage you to continue your efforts. I know this process will take time. However, I'm excited to see what will happen in the future. The investment in a new pool and in improvements for the row natatorium is worthwhile. As mentioned previously, swimming is great for our students. It teaches them goal setting, dedication, competition, and so much more. Because swimming can be done throughout a person's lifetime, we're setting our students up for long-term benefits. So as a mother of MISD swimmers, who is also a swimmer herself, I thank you for listening to us, and I support your continued efforts moving forward in this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Speaker number 4 is Emma Nelson to discuss MISD swimming. Good evening, Ms. Nelson.
Good evening. My name is Emma Nelson, and I am a sophomore at Memorial High School, as well as the captain of their girls' swim team. In the past 2 years that I have done swimming, both years before a major competition, I have had to experience some sort of difficulty in the row facility, something breaking, and I could not use the pool while training for these competitions. And so I would like to thank the board for considering improvements to the row facility, because I think it would give our swimmers not only a better place to swim, but also a sense of security in knowing that they're always going to have that pool and it's always going to be there for them when they're training for whatever minor or major competitions that are coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And best of luck. Congratulations on being captain. Another speaker is Mr. Jorge Villanueva. Mr. Villanueva, too, will speak about swimming facilities improving.
Yes,
Good
exactly.
evening, Mr. Villanueva.
Good afternoon. Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Jorge Villanueva. My 2 sons are in Memorial High School swimming team, and I will show you the need to renew and expand the swimming facilities in the McAllen district. The problem, Nicky Rose Pool is overused by all high schools, middle schools, and clubs that use it. It's obsolete and inadequate. There's a lack of sufficient, comfortable area for spectators. Bathrooms are missing. The heating and filtration system is about 30 years old, fails, sometimes when it's more necessary in times of meets. Students do not want to swim in a cold and murky water, but they do, because they want to overcome. And when they compete, they represent their school and the district. The proposal, it's a fact that McAllen ISD needs to renew and expand swimming facilities. I propose to use renewable energy, active with solar panels for energy generation for all purification equipment, lighting, air conditioning, etc. And passive to heat the water with solar water heaters that will save a lot of money in the future. We are in an area of high solar radiation. Do not waste it, please. There's a technology for it. Let's use it. Let's help our planet. This is the time to be one step forward. Let's not wait for a major problem to be made. Let's give our young people a useful avant-garde space worthy for swimming. They, with their effort, put McAllen ISD high. Now to McAllen ISD, it's time to do his own. We ask it for our children. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Villanueva. We'll return to the top, Mr. Jesse Borrego. I know we got a lot of parking out, a little bit of parking out there, so I want to give Mr. Borrego an opportunity. Nothing? All right, that will close our public comment session of today's meeting. Item number 5, discussion and possible action on the transfer agreement, number 2023-198, McAllen Independent School District Police K-9. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration is requesting approval to transfer K-9 to Corporal Ricardo Bernal, Chief Joey Silva, and Mrs. Alejandra Molina, our Executive Director for Child Nutrition and Purchasing, are available to answer any questions. Welcome, Chief.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
So I'd like to start off by saying that Thor has been with us 7 years. As of February this year, he turned 10. He's done countless deployments. He's assisted several agencies, to include federal agencies, with thousands of, recovering thousands of pounds of narcotics. So I think he's pretty pawsome. So that being said, I mean, he's one of the team. We treat him just like one of the guys. We're sad to see, that he's getting ready to retire, but he's done his time. He's ready to hang him up. He's ready to sit poolside by Corporal Bernal's swimming pool and have a pup cup. So other than that, if anybody has any questions for me regarding
Board, any questions for Chief Silva?
I have a comment. Does he get his sign off?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to work on that too. As a matter of fact, my understanding is he's supposed to go to the retirement ceremony as well.
Yes.
So he'll
That's
be there.
great. I just want to thank Thor for his service. I think it's a beautiful thing. Officer Bernard, bring him up front so everybody can see him. Up to the highest step right
He's
there.
handsome.
We have a
Good-looking
motion
boy.
to approve by Trustee Saldivar. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second by Trustee Sofia Peña. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Congratulations, Officer Thor. You will be accepted in your retirement.
You're going to take a picture? Yeah.
Make sure we can see Officer Thor.
There you go. Good boy. Gotta make those noises. What you gotta do? One, two, three.
first.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion
Yes, sir, trustee Suarez.
to approve items 7A through 7F.
We have a motion to approve the proclamations. Is there a second? We have a second by trustee Vela. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 7-0. So moving on, item 6A has been pulled. A scheduling conflict has arisen, so we move on to item 7A. The proclamation regarding Celebrate Diversity Month. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. By proclaiming the month of May as Celebrate Diversity Month, administration acknowledges the importance of incorporating a culture that embraces diversity. Mr. Mark May will introduce students and staff, and trustee Mr. Conrado Alvarado will read the proclamation.
All right, to start us off, from Fields Elementary, you have Counselor Jessica Guerrero. Also from Fields, student Nathaniel Mendez. From Fields, student Aya Enriquez. From Fields, student Michelle Torres. Fields student Nathan Chavez. Fields student Dariana Vasquez. Fields student Eva Quiorga. Fields student Harlow Cantu. Fields student Harley Cantu. And field student Diego Ibarra. And our principal from Fields, Teresa Tregla. And our College Career Counseling Department Director, Ms. Norma Cabrera.
All right, I get the privilege of reading the proclamation. State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, McAllen Independent School District. Whereas McAllen ISD embraces diversity all year round, we are one world, one district celebrating diversity. Whereas during the month of May, McAllen ISD celebrates people of all races, religions, gender, economic status, physical and mental circumstances. Whereas McAllen ISD is an organization where employers utilize their unique experiences and backgrounds to embrace a culture of inclusion. Now, therefore, I, Conrado Alvarado, member of the Board of Trustees of McAllen Independent School District, do hereby proclaim that the month of May 2023 be observed as Celebrate Diversity Month. In witness, therefore, I set my hand, cause the seal of McAllen Independent School District to be fixed on this 24th day of April, signed by myself and attested by Mr. Marco Suarez, Secretary of Board of Trustees. So congratulations. Thank you all for joining us.
All right, moving on to item 7B, that is the proclamation regarding Mental Health Awareness Month. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. By proclaiming the month of May as Mental Health Awareness Month, administration acknowledges the importance of mental health and would like to recognize counselors, social workers, and family treatment staff. Mr. Mark May will introduce our counselors, social workers, and family treatment staff, and Vice President Mrs. Debbie Crane Aliceda will read the proclamation.
All right, starting off from Palmer Drug Abuse Program, Programs Operations Supervisor, Mr. Joel Morales.
Thank you.
We also have from Tropical Texas Behavioral Health, Roxanne Rodriguez Saldana. And from South Texas Health System Clinics, LPC, Heidi Valesa Ruiz. From Palms Behavioral Health Community Liaison, Denise Rodriguez. Family Treatment Program Prevention Specialist, Rosemary Silva. Kathy Middle School Social Worker, Aretha Flores. social worker intern, Iliana Ramos. DHR Health Business Development Manager, Esther Fuentes. Hope Family Health Center Counseling Coordinator, Yahaira Chavez. Fields Elementary Counselor, Jessica Guerrero. And once again, our Director for Counseling, Ms. Norma Cabrera.
The proclamation reads, State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, McAllen Independent School District. Whereas every citizen in the community can make a difference in helping end the silence and stigma that has surrounded mental illness and discouraged people from getting help. And whereas through public education and civic activities, McAllen ISD remains engaged in the promise to address the challenges people with mental illness face by increasing access to mental health services. And whereas Mental Health Awareness Month is an opportunity to increase public understanding of the importance of mental health. Now, therefore, I, Debbie Crane Aliceta, Vice President, Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District, do hereby proclaim that the month of May 2023 be observed as Mental Health Awareness Month. In witness hereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the McAllen Independent School District to be affixed on this 24th day of April 2023, and it is attested to by our Board Secretary, Trustee Suarez.
Moving on to item 7C. This is the proclamation regarding Better Hearing and Speech Month. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. By proclaiming the month of May as Better Hearing and Speech Month, administration would like to recognize speech pathologist assistants, and audiologists. Speech pathologists and audiologists, through their specialized training, provide knowledge and skills fundamental for lifelong success to students by developing and recommending teaching strategies. Mr. Mark May will introduce our speech pathologist, our speech pathologist and our assistants, along as our audiologist, and Mrs. Trustee Sofia M. Peña will read the proclamation.
All right, thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Our speech language pathologist from Rayburn, Vanessa Ovalle. Pathologist from Pettis Elementary, and also Thigpen Zavala, and Head Start, Claudia Longoria. Pathologist from Boston Middle School and Milam Elementary, Cynthia Ramirez. Pathologist from Castaneda, Elizabeth Pulido. Pathologist, the lead pathologist from Morris Middle School in Sanchez, Rebecca de la Garza. From the Row Vertical Alignment, Dr. Maggie Costa. Our Special Education Director of Teaching and Learning, Dr. Sandra Pitchford. And Director of the Regional Day School Program for the Deaf, Lisa Lara. And Executive Director of Special Education, Maribel Elizondo.
Okay, is that everyone, Mark? Okay, yes. McAllen ISD proclamation. Whereas residents of McAllen, Texas, who have overcome their communication disabilities through the service of dedicated audiologists and speech language pathologists should be recognized. And whereas today we recognize and value the efforts of all audiologists and speech language pathologists throughout our nation who work to help these individuals with communication disorders to lead independent, productive, and fulfilling lives. And whereas May is observed and celebrated as Better Hearing and Speech Month by audiologists and speech language pathologists. Now, therefore, I, Sofia M. Peña, Sofia Merced Peña, member of the Board of Trustees of McAllen Independent School District, do hereby proclaim the month of May be observed as Better Hearing and Speech Month. I urge all citizens to recognize the achievements of audiologists and speech-language pathologists in improving their quality of life, in improving the quality of life of people with communication disorders. And in witness here thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the McAllen Independent School District to be affixed on this 24th day of April 2023, attested to by Marco Suarez, Secretary of the Board, and myself.
Moving on to item 7D, the proclamation regarding Administrative Professionals Day. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. By proclaiming April 26th as Administrative Professionals Day, administration would like to recognize administrative professionals for their services. Mr. Mark May will introduce our administrative services professionals, and trustee Mr. Conrado Alvarado will read the proclamation.
All right, starting from Lamar Academy, we have Ms. Cristina Sotelo. And from Roosevelt Elementary, Janet Garcia. From Memorial High School, Ana Garcia. From Fossa Middle School, Justina Castillo. From Wilson Elementary, Brenda Gonzalez. From Gonzalez Elementary, Brenda Ragusin. From Fields, Maria Elena Solis. From Castaneda, Maribel Benavides. From Pettis Elementary, Esmer Mendoza. From Travis Middle School, Ann Martinez. From McAuliffe, Marisa Sepulveda. From Early College High School, Leticia Castillo. And from Kathy Middle School, Rita Herrera.
Ooh, the wheel fell off. I'll get it in a second. I get the privilege of reading the proclamation. McAllen ISD Proclamation, State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, McAllen Independent School District. Whereas administrative professionals provide quality services and perform indispensable roles in the education of McAllen Independent School District students. And whereas administrative professionals are vital contributors in today's team-oriented work environment and are key frontline public relations ambassadors for our district. And whereas McAllen Independent School District supports an invaluable role administrative professionals play throughout the district in providing quality services that enable students to learn in a positive, safe, and supportive environment. And McAllen ISD acknowledges administrative professionals as equal and essential partners in the educational process. Now, therefore, I, Conrado Alvarado, member Board of Trustees of McAllen Independent School District, do hereby proclaim the 26th of April 2023 as Administrative Professionals Days. I have set my hand, caused, and the seal of the McAllen Independent School District to be fixed on this 24th day. I signed it and tested by Mr. Marco Suarez, Secretary of the Board of Trustees. And I just want to add that there's probably more that I could be here all day reading hour after hour, all the things y'all do. I've seen it, you know, when I've visited schools or when my kids were in school, y'all do a vital role, and it's often not seen what y'all do, but I just want to tell you on behalf of the board, we want to thank you for all the hard work that you do for our district. Thank you.
Moving on to item 7E. This is the proclamation regarding School Lunch Hero Day. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. By proclaiming May 5th as School Lunch Hero Day, administration would like to recognize our cafeteria manager team leads who provide coaching and mentoring to new staff members and model best practices at their campuses. Mr. Mark May will introduce the cafeteria team, and Trustee Sam Saldivar Jr. will read the proclamation.
All right, thank you, sir. From Central Kitchen, our team lead, high school, and manager of Central Kitchen is Marianela Gonzalez. From Castaneda Elementary, the team lead, North Elementary Schools, and manager, Cecilia Ortiz. The team lead, middle school manager from Travis, Clarissa Ramirez. Lead South Elementary Schools and manager at McAllen, Martha Maldonado. Production supervisor, CNP, Lizette Gonzalez. CNP operations supervisor, Graciela Rodriguez. CNP operations coordinator, Diana Moreno Salinas. Assistant director of finance and nutrition, Denise Ortiz. The menu and production specialist, Diana Perez. Assistant director of operations and systems, Sonia Esquivel. Also, our executive director for purchasing and for child nutrition, Alexandra Molina.
McAllen ISD. Are we taking the photo first? Or that's what I thought. Okay, thank you. McAllen ISD proclamation, State of Texas, County de Hidalgo, McAllen ISD. Whereas McAllen ISD provides an average of 41,500 delicious, nutritious, and safe meals, and that they do, I can attest because I've eaten there, at schools to McAllen ISD students daily. Whereas over 250 dedicated child nutrition professionals provide campus and administrative support to ensure adherence to strict nutritional standards, navigating student food allergies, and offering breakfast, lunch, and supper meals daily with a smile. Whereas district data reflects historically 80% of students in attendance consume nutritious, delicious breakfast and lunch through multiple distribution methods, and 10% consumption of supper at school sites and community sites there after school. Now, therefore, I, Sam Saldivar Jr., member of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District, do proclaim that today of May 5th, 2023, as School Lunch Hero Day. We call upon residents to join the dedicated individuals here today and those that work each and every day in the various campuses in appropriate activities that support the health and well-being of our children, and to become aware of their own nutritional habits in hopes of achieving the most healthy citizenry for today and in the future. In witness thereof, we put our hand and seal, the Board of Trustees, on this affixed day of the 24th day of April, 2023, signed by myself, Sam Saldivar Jr., and attested to by our Board Secretary, Marco A. Suarez. There you go. It's Antonio, actually, isn't it? Yes, sir. Marco Antonio Suarez, McAllen Independent School District, our Board Secretary. Now, as we know, and I was just reading some material recently regarding what we all went through during the pandemic. And it talked about in the article the ability of a school district to deliver food through all means necessary, and the ideas that were put into place, many of which were novel and innovative, of which we were at the forefront at McAllen ISD, thanks to these individuals right here, and the leadership of our superintendent and leadership of our director, to make sure that those children receive meals and those families receive meals. Because they didn't have to necessarily be students of McAllen ISD. As long as they were children under the age of 18, we provided those meals. And it was because of this hard work and dedication each and every day, and especially during that pandemic. And so we are here today in just a moment, and it's not enough to say muchas gracias. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, and our final proclamation is item 7F. This is the proclamation regarding School Nurses Day. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. By proclaiming May 10th as School Nurses Day, administration would like to recognize our school nurses who provide a specialized practice that advances the well-being, academic success, and lifelong achievement of students. Mr. Mark May will introduce our nurses, and Trustee Mr. Daniel D. Vela will read the proclamation.
And we'll start with our Director of Nursing for McAllen ISD, Ms. Elizabeth Gutierrez. Next, we have District Nurse Janie Espino. Crockett Annex Registered Nurse Luciana Ocanes. From Garza Elementary, Adriana Rivera. From Rayburn, RN Jennifer Garcia. From Achieve Early College High, Jennifer Garza. And from Morris Middle School, Monica Morales. From Gonzales Elementary, Elizabeth Hinojosa. From Fossum Middle School, Brianna Tobias. And also from Fossum MA, Nicholas Alaman.
Good afternoon. The proclamation this afternoon for McAllen ISD, State of Texas County of Hidalgo. We could make it a state. McAllen Independent School District. Whereas all students have a right to have their physical and mental health needs safely met while in school, and whereas students today face more complex and life-threatening health problems requiring care in school, and whereas school nurses are professional nurses that advance the well-being, academic success, and lifelong achievements of all students by serving on the front lines and providing critical safety net for our nation's most fragile children. And now I, therefore, Daniel David Vela, Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District, do hereby proclaim the day of May 10th, the year 2023, to be observed as School Nurses Day. The National Association of School Nurses celebrates and acknowledges the accomplishments of school nurses everywhere and their efforts of meeting the needs of today's students by improving the delivery of health care in our schools, and offer gratitude for the nation's school nurses who contribute to our local communities by helping students stay healthy in school and ready to learn, and keeping parents and guardians at work, not just on National School Nurse Day, but at every opportunity throughout the year. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the McAllen Independent School District to be affixed on this 24th day of April, 2023. Daniel David Vela, attested to by Marco Antonio Suarez, Secretary of the Board of Trustees. Thank you. Where's Mrs. Monday? She's not here. No, Miss Monday.
Oh, yeah. She's got her steel boots on today.
Board, at this time, we will recess to closed session. The board may go into closed session pursuant to section 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.089 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. 8A, the discussion of human resource recommendations for school year 2022-2023. 8B, discussion of human resource employee resignation and retirees for school year 2022-2023. 8C, discussion of the superintendent's recommendation concerning the renewal of the 2022-2023 employee contracts of teachers and other professional personnel for the 2023-2024 school year, policy DC legal. 8D is discussion on possible action of human resource director recommendation for school year 2022-2023. Got to announce this correction. It was printed wrong. The discussion and possible action of human resource director recommendation will be effective 2022-2023. 8E, discussion regarding school safety and security. 8F, pending and/or potential litigation. And 8G, possible real estate acquisition. At 5:42, this board is in closed session. We'll go to Dr. Gonzalez's office. It is now 6:50, and this board will return to open session. For the record, there was no action taken while we were in closed session. We move on to item 10A, discussion and possible action of the human resource recommendations for school year 2022-2023. That item has been pulled because there's nothing to add there. Item 10B, discussion of the human resource employee resignation and retirees for school year 2022-2023. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Human Resources is submitting a list of resignations and retirees for the 2022-2023 school year under separate cover for discussion during closed session. This item is for information purposes only.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Item 10C, discussion and possible action of superintendent's recommendation concerning the renewal of 2022-2023 employee contracts of teachers and other professional personnel for the 2023-2024 school year. Policy DC Legal. For the record, Trustee Conrado Alvarado will recuse himself from this item, and Dr. Gonzalez will tell us what it is.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. As per DC Legal, the superintendent has sole authority to make recommendations to a board regarding the selection of all personnel. A board may accept or reject a superintendent's recommendation regarding the selection of district personnel. The list being provided by Mr. Todd Miller, our Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, includes current contract employees being recommended to receive a term or probationary contract for the 2023-2024 school year, and administration is requesting action on this item.
What say ye, board?
So moved.
We have a motion by Trustee Vela and a second by Trustee Suarez. Any comments, questions, concerns, queries? None heard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 6-0 with one abstention. Item 10D, discussion and possible action of Human Resources Director, recommendation for year 2022 through 2023. Again, we are going to announce that this was labeled incorrectly. It should read 2022 to 2023. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration recommends approval of Christian Quintanilla for the position of Human Resource Director, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved, Mr. President. Second.
Second.
Was I the motion?
You moved and seconded.
Sam really wants to get this done.
I am so sorry.
You make sure we get his names in the minutes, please?
So moved.
We'll take the motion by Trustee Saldiva, the second by Trustee Vela. Comments, questions, concerns, queries? None being heard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 7-0. Congratulations to Ms. Quintanilla. Item 10E, the discussion regarding school safety and security. Chief has elaborated and done very well. Item 10F, pending and/or potential litigation.
Proceed as directed.
We have a motion to proceed as directed. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 7-0. Mr. Saldana, any possible real estate acquisition?
No, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. Item number 11, the superintendent's report. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. We're fortunate with the support of this school board and the hard work of our team. We have a robust robotics program in McAllen ISD. Our teams have won at the state level and competed on the world stage. And recently, the Rowe High School team invited students to see what robotics is all about. And the event was called Robotics Day, and we have a short story on that event.
So today is Robotics Day, and what we do is we set up our competition field and we plug in some of the other programs that we're involved in. For example, the Tech Challenge, the Tech Wars, definitely, and some of the other things that are going on campus. We have rocketry, we have underwater robotics, and of course, BattleBots, which is represented down there, and our competition. The whole idea is you don't have to be an engineer to be part of what we're doing. You just have to have an imagination. So we're opening this up to the freshmen and giving them something to chew on over the summer. There is so much that we can do. Right now we're open lab. We'll find a place for you.
President.
Great work by Mr. Ruiz. Now, he said we're opening it up to the freshmen. Is that incoming freshmen or freshmen that are there right now and going into their sophomore year?
At this point, our incoming freshmen are obviously encouraged to participate in robotics, and our current freshmen are already practicing. I do want to commend the team. I know that we did have a team place at the World Competition. This is the first time that any team south of San Antonio has placed at the World Competition, so McAllen ISD is on the map as one of the finer robotics districts in the world. Excellent.
Congratulations, sir. Item 12, recognitions. There are none. Item 13, the board committee and district reports. 13A1, instructional services briefing. The chair is Trustee Sofia Peña.
Were you at the meeting?
Yes.
You want to do the report?
Sure, I could if you like.
I'd like to defer to Trustee Saldivar since he was present at the meeting.
All right, thank you. Mr. President, if I may?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The Instructional Services Committee met Thursday, April the 20th at 9:30 a.m. by video conference call. And many of the items were the proclamations that we heard, several Celebrate Diversity Month, mental health awareness, better hearing and speech. And then we're about to have a report in a few moments by bilingual English on a second language, foreign language department, which we're looking forward to hearing that. Also, we're going to have a report regarding applying for grants to the U.S. Department of Justice and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And in talking to Ms. Williams, this administration has gone and acquired many grants and many funds through the U.S. Department and through the state and through other private agencies, so this is just another opportunity. We also have, as a possible action, request for proposals 2021-1005 professional development. This is the 23rd round, so this is adding to those vendors that are already available. Also on special education equipment and supplies, that's coming up as well. This is round 11, adding to those lists for our various departments to have resources for. And then also action and training agreement on support transition and the road to independent development and employment. This is the STRIDES program and the training and educational service with South Texas College, which is outstanding. And we also have discussion, possible action on the acceptance on the Alonso de Leon Middle School International Baccalaureate Program, which is being renewed, which is outstanding. And also discussion, possible action on a resolution on opposing the school vouchers, which is later on this evening. This concludes our report.
Thank you, Trustee Saldivar. Thank you, Trustee Peña.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 13A2, the human resource briefing. The chair is Trustee Vela.
No report.
No report. Thank you, sir. Item 13A3, the district operations briefing. The chair is Conrado Alvarado.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Gonzalez met with Trustee Sandoval, and I think Trustee Peña might have met with Ms. Gonzalez separately, but either way, she sends us information, and so we both all received it. I'm sure we had any questions, we'd follow up, but basically, we had a couple proclamations. One was Lunch Hero, the other was Nurses Day, and of course, we have a report coming up on facilities maintenance and operations, and then a couple purchasing, two usual ones, which are vending machines and athletic supplies, and then we'll probably have a good discussion on our upcoming proposal for improvements to the auditorium there at Nicky Rowe. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Alvarado. Appreciate it. Item 13A4, the business operations briefing. The chair is Debbie Crane Aliceda.
Yes, Ms. Felix is very busy as usual, and she's going to be presenting on some grants that we're applying for, taxes, and investment. And that is my report.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 13A5, the board officers briefing. Trustee Aliceda and myself had a chance to meet with Dr. Gonzalez. Trustee Suarez and myself met with Dr. Gonzalez at a later time to address the agenda and make sure that it is in the order it is in. Item 13B1, the report regarding bilingual English as a second language, foreign languages department. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. We have Mrs. Rocio Nava, our Director for Bilingual ESL and Foreign Languages Department, who will present a summary of the performance of our emergent bilingual students in our district and an overview of the different programs we provide. This presentation is for information purposes only. Mrs. Nava, welcome.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present to you today on the Bilingual ESL and Foreign Languages Department. My name is Rocio Nava, and I'm the director of the department. So in our department, our mission is to support the district's mission and a strategic plan to make sure that all of our emergent bilingual students receive an equitable educational opportunity that addresses their affective, linguistic, and cognitive needs according to federal regulations and state policies. Our district ensures that emerging bilingual students participate in academically challenging programs that respect and build upon their unique cultural and linguistic attributes that they bring to our learning community. So in our district, we serve emerging bilingual students from multiple language and cultural backgrounds. In our district, we have 7,320 emerging bilingual students, which is 36% of our total student population. And within this 7,320 students, we have about half of them at the elementary level, 1/4 at the middle school level, and 1/4 at the high school level. And in order to serve our emerging bilingual students, we follow the state-approved process, which is divided into 4 different steps. The first step is on the identification of the student as an emerging bilingual student upon their enrollment into our Texas schools by following the state established guidelines. And once we identify the student as an emerging bilingual student, we place them into the program that best meets their needs. And we continue monitoring the student linguistically and academically until they demonstrate that they're ready to reclassify as an English proficient student. And once they reclassify as English proficient, we continue monitoring the student for 2 additional years to ensure that they're still being successful academically after all the linguistic supports have been removed. And in McAllen ISD, we offer different state-approved bilingual programs, emerging bilingual programs, so that we can meet the needs of all of our emerging bilingual students. And in this graph, you can see the different number of students that participated in different programs that we have here. We have the bilingual early exit program at the elementary level. We have dual language 1-way and 2-way at the elementary and secondary level. We have ESL content-based and ESL pull-out. And these are the campuses where we offer the different programs. We have dual language 1-way and 2-way at Fields, Gonzalez, Jackson, McAuliffe, Milam, Perez, Sanchez, Fossum, and Achiever Early College High School. The bilingual early exit program is offered at Alvarez, Castañeda, Escandón, Garza, Gonzalez, Hendricks, Houston, Jackson, McAuliffe, Milam, Rayburn, Roosevelt, Sanchez, Seguin, Thigpen, Zavala, and Wilson. And we have ESL content-based, which is a program that is offered at the elementary level for those students that need it. And we have the ESL pull-out program, which is offered on all of our secondary campuses. We have foreign language courses offered here at McAllen ISD. We have at the middle school level Spanish courses at the Leon IB NYP program and at Fossum Middle School dual language program. And at the high school level, we offer Spanish at French at Rowe High School, Spanish, French, and American Sign Language at Memorial and Mac High, and Spanish courses at Achiever Early College High School and Lamar Academy. We offer, in our department, we offer different supports for our students, our staff, and our families to make sure that our emerging bilingual students are being successful. So for our students, some of the supports that we offer are instructional resources, instructional software, technology, language development camps, enrichment camps, and summer programs for them. For our staff, we offer different supports to equip them to serve our emerging bilingual students, and we have on-site support and coaching, professional learning, instructional resources, instructional planning, curriculum and writing time, instructional technology, software, and stipends. And we also support our families by providing different events throughout the year and providing different resources that are going to help them meet the needs of their emerging bilingual children and their families as well. One of our requirements in the department is to monitor the English language proficiency of our emerging bilingual students. And we do that by monitoring their performance in their TOPAS assessment. The goal for our emerging bilingual students is to show growth from year to year in their language acquisition, and we're measured against the target. Last year, the target was 36%. On our district, we had 44% of our emerging bilingual students showing growth in their language proficiency in their TOPAS assessment or showing that they're performing at the advanced high level already. We're also responsible or monitoring the academic performance of our emerging bilingual students, and one of the ways that we monitor the academic performance of our students is through the results-driven accountability system. And within this system, our performance of the emerging bilingual students is measured against 12 different indicators, 9 of them under academic achievement, 2 under post-secondary readiness, and 1 under disproportionate analysis. And this past year, our emergent bilingual student population showed growth in all of the 12 indicators and performed above the state rate. And none of this would be possible without our amazing teachers and our administrators and, of course, our students. So we have had the opportunity to celebrate their accomplishments during this school year, and some of those celebrations are Ms. Michelle Cavazos, who was named the Bilingual Teacher of the Year for TABE. We also had a group of dual language secondary students and teachers who were recognized by Rice University for their participation in the Rice Dual Language Tapia camps. We had the National Hispanic Heritage Month board proclamation to celebrate and recognize the accomplishments and contributions of our Hispanic and Latin American community to our society. We had very successful summer programs for our students in which they not only develop their language, but they also review their academic concepts and get ready for the following school year. We had 36 fifth grade students who received their Spanish high school credit at the end of their fifth grade dual language participation, and we were able to recognize them at one of our board meetings. We also had Ms. Andrea Rodriguez. She is a third grade dual language student at Sanchez Elementary who won the National Bilingual Essay Contest on being bilingual, and she was recognized at the National Association of Bilingual Education Conference in Oregon with her teacher, Ms. Carolina de Anda, who was also from Sanchez Elementary, who was also recognized at that conference. We had Carol Prose from Perez Elementary and Michelle Torres from Fields Elementary, who were recognized by RGB TABE for winning their essay and Christmas card contest under the theme Many Languages, One World. And we have our Spanish Spelling Bee tournament, and our district champions were recognized at one of our board meetings. And we took the finalists to compete at UTRGV for their Spanish Spelling Bee tournament. And we won 2 of the 4 categories with Mia Martinez from Alvarez Elementary, who got first place in her category, and Ariana Guzman from Lamar Academy, who got first place in her category as well. And we have some upcoming events in our department. We have some summer programs coming up for our emergent bilingual students. We have the Language Ignition Camp, who supports the incoming 2nd through 8th grade emergent bilingual students. We provide STEM-related activities to give them the opportunity to develop their language and acquire academic skills that are going to help them be ready for the following school year. We have our Dual Language Sensational Camp for our incoming 6th grade dual language students. We also focus on STEAM-related activities, and they develop their English and Spanish literacy skills by participating in this camp. And we have our bilingual summer program for our incoming kinder and first graders, in which we provide fun and engaging activities to help them continue acquiring their language and meet their academic needs. And we have some family, parent, and community events coming up. We have Camino al Éxito, or Road to Success, which is focused on providing our secondary parents, the parents of secondary emergent bilingual students, with tools that we offer here in our district and in our community to help them get their students ready for college. We have the 7th annual Title III Institute from Region 1, in which our parents from McAllen ISD are going to have the opportunity to participate and learn about different local and community resources that are available for their families and for their children as well. And we have the Title III Series community event coming up from TEA, in which our parents will have the opportunity to learn about different community resources that are available for them. And that concludes my presentation. I want to thank you for your time and for your support to our bilingual department and our emerging bilingual students. And if you have any questions, I can answer at this time.
Algunas preguntas para la señora Nava.
I do.
All right, go, Sophia.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Do we have, because you're participating with Region 1 on those projects, which I think is a great collaboration, do we have ESL classes for our parents?
We do. That is offered through the state and federal programs with our parent engagement, but we do offer ESL classes at different times of the day.
Region 1 also has free ESL classes, so just another option for them. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
Any other questions? On the elementary kids that are transitioning from elementary to middle school in the dual language, how are we keeping them in that feeder pattern?
We provide different sessions to support our parents and to let them know about the different options that they have. If they desire to continue in the dual language program at Fossum Middle School, then we offer them presentations about the different resources that we provide as a district, such as transportation, if they're not zoned to that particular middle school.
Are we seeing a decline in any of those numbers, or are they saying, yes, we want to follow that chain and continue on to Fossum and then on to Achieve?
We have different choices in our districts. So sometimes parents, they have the ability to decide if they want to continue into the dual language program, and we offer all the accessibility for them, like if they need transportation, if they need information. But the program, we open the school for them, and they present, and they get to meet the teachers, and they get to see the different accomplishments. But they also have the option to continue into their feeder campus. So at this time, we don't see a decrease in the current enrollment, but we do see less. Right now, we have more students in 5th grade that they're not going to continue into 6th grade dual language program. But it is a choice that the parents have the ability to make. If they will decide to continue at Fossum, they have that ability and that opportunity.
And of the 7,320 EB students that we have, how many of those are something other than Spanish?
We have about 90% on the student language that come from a student Spanish language background. About 98% of them come from a home language Spanish background. The second most spoken language in our district, besides the Spanish and the English, will be the Vietnamese, and then we have the Mandarin. But the majority of our students, of our emerging bilingual students, come from a Spanish-speaking language background.
So about 1% of our...
Well, 90% of our student population, because we go by the student language and the home language.
Right.
So about 90% of our students come from a Spanish-speaking background. The other 10% come from other languages. We have about 24 different languages in our district.
Okay. All right. No other questions? Thank you, ma'am. Trustee Alicea.
No, I was just going to say in general, I mean, I as a parent think it's disappointing that we don't have dual language in every elementary school. And I also think it's an issue that we don't have it at every middle school, because I wouldn't want my child at Pettis Elementary walking to school every day with her neighbors and with her friends, and then having to be bused all the way to Fossum just because we choose to do dual language, but we don't offer it anymore at Morris. I know we've been over this, but it'd be nice to see if we could have a workshop on dual language again and see if we can go back to the days when we had it at every elementary school and then grow it into every middle school, just to see if there's more opportunities for our students.
Right. I think we are at a point where we may be able to expand to other elementary campuses. Mm-hmm. And in regards to secondary, we want to make sure that if we do expand to the secondary campuses, we have the staff that will be able to teach the courses in the Spanish language and with appropriate certifications. But definitely, yes, we would like to see our program expand into other campuses, especially at the elementary level.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, item 13B2, the report regarding facilities, maintenance, and operations projects. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. This is a monthly report from our Facilities Maintenance and Operations Department. We have Mr. Ruben Trevino, our Executive Director for Facilities Maintenance and Operations, who will provide us with a update. This item is for information purposes only. Hello, Mr. Trevino. How are you doing, sir?
Good evening, Dr. Gonzalez, members of the board. I am here to present on our monthly report for the current projects that we have going here in the district. Our first slide here is the first section of foundation that's going in for our UTRGV Academy. And they've already poured the first section of concrete that you see on the right. And structural steel has already started to go up as of Friday of last week. And the second pour was scheduled for this week, and it's been postponed by the weather. But we'll be waiting for the next pour. Our second slide here is Lamar Academy and Rowe High School HVAC upgrades. Currently at Lamar, everything is set. They're tying in the cafeteria, and the equipment will be a tie-in for this summer. At the Rowe High School, the same thing with the new chiller plant. That will be tied in this summer as soon as kids let out. We have our Travis Middle School roof upgrade, which is ongoing currently right now. Our surveillance camera upgrades continue to be worked on at both De Leon and Morris with an estimated substantial completion date of August for this summer. And our Fossum and Morris Middle School chillers are also scheduled to be completed this summer. We have our cafeteria and kitchen upgrades. These are the most recent pictures that we see here are from De Leon Middle School. De Leon Middle School, we've got a temporary occupancy already, and it's scheduled to be fully completed next month, this coming month. These pictures here are from Brown Middle School. We also have an estimated substantial completion date of May of 2023, and these are the most current pictures of the new equipment that we've had for the kitchen, that walk-in cooler freezer that you see on the top right, the 3-compartment sink, along with the new style serving lines that we currently have at all of our campuses. This one here is Gonzalez Elementary. It also has all the new equipment in place. We've already been granted temporary occupancy. We're waiting, I believe, on one rooftop unit to be installed, and we'll be ready to go on schedule for next month. And the last one on the first group of 4 is Jackson Elementary, where you can see new equipment on the bottom right hand. You have that new water heater system. You've got the extension that you see on the bottom left of the cafeteria kitchen area that was extended to the north over at Jackson, and then some of the ongoing construction, and that's also on schedule to be completed in May this coming month. We also have the roof replacements going on at Houston Elementary School, which is, they're tying in the final trims on the roof edges, and that is scheduled to be completed here in the next week or so, and we'll begin the punch list on that particular project. And we also have Roosevelt that will continue and is estimated for completion this summer. Here we have the next set of 4 cafeterias. On the bottom left, you've got one of the corridors that is now going to be enclosed. That is currently at Rayburn, and then we have Roosevelt on the right. We will also be starting Wilson and Garza come June as soon as school lets out. That picture on the bottom left, that's if you can picture Roosevelt or Rayburn cafeteria from the main building to the cafeteria. That's an enclosure that's going to be done so that the doors are remain open during the day, and the kids are able to travel safely from the cafeteria to the main building. Because right now those doors are being kept unlocked due to the 2 buildings being separate. So we went ahead and built that into this project so that we can create that corridor.
That's a great idea.
Here we have the McAllen High School security hut relocation along with another section of fence. This is part of the district-wide security upgrades that we continue to work with our current police department, our technology department, and we meet regularly on these upgrades, and this is one of them that came as a collaboration between the school administration, FMO, and our police department. Here we have our press box. These are different views from the actual deck up at the top. And then on the bottom side, as you can see, the steel structure with some of the components already going up, where we already have concrete at the very top, and they're starting the walls also on the very top end. We also have the McAllen High School practice field sports lighting. This has already been on order, and we're expecting equipment to get delivered in the next couple of weeks to the site, and they will begin on the lighting project over at the McHigh practice field. And we continue to do our castle rounds district-wide. This is cleanliness, AC, safety, technology, lighting, and exterior. As I reported last month, happy to report again that we have 100% of the campuses doing every weekly report up to date since the school year started, and work orders are generated, and then we follow through and go through and communicate with the campus and give them status on every work order, and so on and so forth. And this concludes my report for this month.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Any questions for Ruben? Trustee Saldivar.
Thank you.
And thank you for clarifying the breezeway being enclosed for security purposes, going from the main building into the cafeteria. And I understand that's happened in other campuses as well.
Correct. As we move along, yes.
And that's a great idea. And to be sure, you took out what was there to make sure it had a stable sound foundation for whatever you're going to put up as walls.
And it also has to meet ADA sloping and everything. So that's the only way we could get to that point.
Excellent, good work. As far as the work orders generated to the ones coming from the castle rounds, what would you say is the numbers being generated as far as work orders for your department? Are they coming from the castle rounds, or are they coming from the staffing asking for things, or is it a combination?
It's both areas. Campus administration, along with police department, with head custodians, they do their castle rounds regularly. So they'll produce quite a bit of some of those work orders that pertain to the safety component of things at the campus level. The other huge area, of course, are going to be your day-to-day work orders that are produced by campuses or different buildings. If I had to guess, I would probably say maybe 40% from Castle and 60% regular.
Okay. As far as the AC, what happens in that regard on your castles? Is it a thermostat issue, or
whenever they're going through the campus? Let's say there's been reports to the front office of let's say the library AC not working, or the gym, or any of those particular areas, or a certain classroom, they'll go ahead and note it and send it to us as another added reminder or work order.
So when the reports are being generated, whether they're coming from the rounds or they're coming from staff, are you using these categories to then put them into, so you know at any given point in time how much is your word is coming from cleanliness, how much is AC, how much is safety, how much is technology, how much is lighting, how much is exterior?
We're starting to use keywords when it comes to, let's say, per se castle or safety, so that we're able to track them in groups. And we're testing that out right now as a small pilot within the department. And we're also currently looking at other work order systems that may be out there that could generate those reports a lot faster and a lot quicker in a more efficient way for us.
Yeah, I think as you continue to do that, I commend you for that, and I encourage you to keep doing that, because that's going to tell us when we do our budgets as we move forward is how much is being utilized in these various areas, if they remain the same or if they change. But more importantly, it may begin to tell us when it's time to refurbish or when it's time to replace the school as well. Because if you start putting a whole lot into lighting and exterior and that sort of thing, which could be, I guess, structural type things, then you're saying, wait, we're at a pivot point where we're spending more to keep it when it is to replace the structure. So anyway, I commend you on that, so continue.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. Trustee Eliseo.
I know it wasn't in part of your presentation, but in the next presentation, can we have an update on the black boxes and then also on the Morris Park? I mean, that deal with the city was in 2005, 2019, they presented to the board and they had phase 1 and phase 2, and there's still nothing happening. So if we could have an update on the Morris Park, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? None heard. Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Item 13B3, the report regarding the intention to apply for grants through the United States Department of Justice and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. Dr. Gonzalez.
Oh, yes, sir, Mr. President. The U.S. Department of Justice and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration are providing grant opportunities that will increase support for students and families that have experienced violence, as well as provide the district with training, prevention, and intervention for mental health and traumatic emergencies through Mr. Adrian Garza, who does a tremendous job working with the Family Treatment Program as their manager, and he's going to share more information with us. And this is for information purposes only. Mr. Garza, welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Let me share. There's numerous grants popping up with the Department of Justice and, of course, SAMHSA, which is the school, actually Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA. So what we're trying to do is trying to catch all these grants before the deadlines. So since we usually put up like 1 or 2 grants, but in this case we have numerous grants that we're going after. The last count was 6, but as I'm speaking, 1 came out today. So we want to keep on top of them and make sure that we're applying for them. Some of the grants that we are applying for are for the fiscal year 2023 all the way out to 2026. In this case, this would be through our Department of Justice. One of the grants is up to a minimum of $500,000 per year, over 3 years, and a max of another grant of $1 million for 3 years. And these grants are for violence prevention, students or parents, or even at this point, campuses that experience any type of violence. We want to make sure that we have trauma-informed care in place for these staff members, students, and of course, parents. We want to make sure we have the training in place and the funding for those situations if they do arise. Currently, we have a grant with the Department of Justice, and it's working out great because we're able to hire clinicians that will be able to provide providing therapy for our students. I think a lot of the promotion is between, of course, trying to get these grants out there for communities, especially marginalized communities that don't have the funding to implement robust school mental health programs. Our second grant that we're going, actually 2 grants that we're going after, is with SAMHSA, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. One is $1.8 million for 5 years, and the other one is for $970,000 over the span of 4 years. Very similar to our Safe Schools, Healthy Students grant back in 2008. These grants are specifically designed to actually go in there and provide these services for students who have experienced any type of trauma. So the trauma-related services are, of course, cognitive behavioral therapy and other therapeutic measures to try and make sure that the escalation of behavior doesn't overcome, of course, the students' participation and, of course, academic success on the campuses. In a nutshell, all these grants are available, and they'll still be coming up because, of course, we're moving forward in a time where, of course, we're seeing a lot of violence on our campuses, a lot of violence in the streets, and we want to make sure we jump ahead of this to ensure that we provide a good support system for our students and families.
Any questions for Mr. Garza? Good luck, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Item 13B4, the report regarding the intention to apply for United States Department of Justice fiscal year 2023 body-worn camera policy and implementation program to support the Law Enforcement Agencies grant. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The U.S. Department of Justice is providing grant opportunities for law enforcement agencies that will allow them to purchase or lease body-worn cameras. We have Ms. Laura Williams, our Director for Special Funding, who will present the report, and this item is for information purposes only. Ms. Williams, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, and good evening to Dr. Gonzalez and the board. This is for our intention to apply for the 2023 body-worn camera program. Should we receive this grant, it would be able to provide the purchase of 62 body cameras for all of our officers here within the district. We did meet the deadlines April 4th and April 11th. We are hopeful that between one of the 2 body-worn camera grants that we have applied for, hopefully we'll be able to get one of them so that we can make sure that our officers stay safe.
Excellent. Any questions for Ms. Williams? Trustee Vela. Into the mic, please, sir.
The cameras come with all of the related equipment for charging, downloading.
That is part of the
That's in the price there?
Yes, within the $53,808, that does include the 24 hub docking station, turnkey, the whole kit and caboodle. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Whole enchilada.
Sorry, that's probably
It's the whole enchilada. Okay, got it.
the whole enchilada, yes. North Texas, whole kit and caboodle.
Trustee Pena.
No.
You're good.
I'm good.
All right. Any other questions for Ms. Williams?
Oh, the River Rocks.
And the River Rocks, too.
None being heard. Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate that. Good luck.
Thank you.
Item 13B5, the report regarding the intention to apply for the Department of Education and Office of Elementary and Secondary Education fiscal year 2023 well-rounded education programs. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Innovative Approaches to Literacy program is a funding opportunity that will assist in the implementation of high-quality programs designed to develop and improve literacy skills for students. And Ms. Laura Williams, our Director for Special Funding, will present this report as well. And this item is for information purposes only. Ms. Williams.
Thank you. For the fiscal year 2023 well-rounded education program, the IAL, Innovative Approach to Literacy, should we receive this grant, this would provide anywhere from $175,000 to $750,000 in collaboration
with Library Services, Ms. Ann Vega, to provide professional development for our librarians across the district, and also put into the hands of all of our students at all of the campuses district-wide needed books and up-to-date materials. So we are hopeful that we will be able to secure this grant, and we're expected to know something by September 30th.
Anywhere from 175 to 775.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions for Ms. Williams? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Item 13B6, the report regarding taxes collected for March 2023. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. We have Mrs. Adele Felix, our Assistant Superintendent for Business Operations. She'll report on the monthly taxes collected by the Hidalgo County Tax Office on behalf of McAllen ISD for March 2023. And again, this is for information purposes only. Mrs. Felix.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. For the month of March 2023, total taxes collected, we have current of $92,398,815.03. Our delinquent taxes of $1,598,663.01, and rollback taxes of $30,109.62. If you compare the percentage rates from last year at this point, we are pretty comparable with our current at 95.17 compared to 95.72. And our delinquent is at 25.57 compared to 30.87. That concludes my report.
Any questions for Ms. Felix? Thank you, Board. Item 13B7, the report regarding the monthly financial and quarterly investment report for March 2023. Dr. Gonzalez.
Mrs. Felix, the floor is yours.
For the month of March 31st, 2023, we have total revenues of $186,997,959. Total expenditures of $166,708,075, with revenue over expenditures of $20,289,884. Our investment portfolio, our ending market value, we have $180,791,973, with our average yield to maturity at this point of 3.886%. It's holding steady, which is great news for us. And our interest earnings for the month of March, we have $640,347.86.
Any questions on the financials for Ms. Felix?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Oh, Trustee Saldívar.
Just an observation. For whatever reason, I got gibberish on my chart. I don't know why, and I'll show it to you later on.
Oh, okay.
But
I can provide you this copy.
if you would, because under that meter report, it's all in. I can't even say it's Greek. It's just.
You got symbols? Did you get symbols?
Lots of symbols. You can't make out number.
It's a type of Adobe, but I'll get you this one.
Okay, so it might have been the software on my laptop.
It might be, but
Okay. All right, fair enough. I just thought maybe it was some sort of code I needed to get. You know what I'm talking about, though, right? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, sorry.
Yes, sir. Moving on to the consent agenda items. We have items 14A through 14G. Does anyone need one pulled for discussion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve items 14A through 14G. We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 7-0. Item 15, the Instructional Services, Leadership, Human Resources, District Operations portion of the contest. Item 15A1, discussion and possible action of the Statement of Acceptance number 2023-196, Alonso de Leon Middle School International Baccalaureate Program. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration is requesting approval of the Statement of Acceptance form for the IB program. We have Dr. Rosalba de Hoyos, along with our Director for Advanced Academics, Mrs. Karen Nitsch, who is available to answer any questions with regard to this item, and we are requesting action on this item.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any comments, questions, concerns, or queries? None being heard, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 7-0. Item 15A2, discussion and possible action of the resolution to oppose school vouchers. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration recommends the approval of the resolution to oppose school vouchers. We have Dr. Rosalba de Hoyos, our Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Services, who is available to answer any questions, and we are requesting action on this item.
We have a motion to approve by Trustee Aliceta. Is there a second?
Absolutely. Second.
Comments, questions, concerns, queries? None heard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 7-0.
I was
We will
hoping
pass
someone was
around-
gonna say-
Just for the record, there's no comment from me, just because I'm still upset, and I don't wanna say something I'll regret later, so I'm glad we're doing this, because it's absolutely a joke that we're discussing that instead of salary increases for our teachers and our staff and all that, so thank you for bringing this.
Okay, so I will, as I pass down the signature sheet, I will go ahead
That's
and
the clean
read
version.
the resolution. The resolution for the vouchers, education savings accounts, taxpayer savings grants, and other mechanisms that reduce public education funding from the state of Texas, the county of Hidalgo. Whereas Article 7, Section 1 of the Texas Constitution requires that the Texas legislature establish and make suitable provision for the support and maintenance of an efficient system of public free schools. And whereas the Texas public school districts accept every student. Whereas education savings accounts and other voucher schemes give private schools, not parents, the right to choose. And whereas Texas public schools adhere to state mandated academic and financial accountability standards. And whereas private schools are not required to meet the same academic performance standards and public schools, they do not report test results, graduation rates, and other performance measures to the public. Whereas school choice already exists in Texas via public school districts, charter schools, inter and intra-district transfers, home schools, virtual schools, and private schools. Whereas education savings accounts and similar voucher schemes eliminate public accountability of schools and tax dollars. Whereas using tax dollars to pay for tuition at private and religious schools would grow into a costly entitlement program. Whereas a taxpayer-funded voucher program would reduce the amount of state funds available for all schools, harming many rural Texas communities where families have few, if any, private school options. And whereas Texas parents who accept a voucher would lose out on a long list of important parental rights outlined in Texas State Education Code and in federal law, especially protections for students receiving special education services. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the McAllen ISD Board of Trustees calls on the Texas Legislature to reject any diversion of public dollars to private entities in the forms of education savings accounts and similar voucher schemes. This is passed and approved on this 24th day of April, 2023.
I'm gonna add something, sorry.
Sure.
Just because Ito got my blood going, but, you know, they talk about vouchers and their whole intent was to help the school districts or the areas that are not servicing their kids. But I think it's a cop-out for the state, instead of fixing the situation in that district, to give them the option. We should be so confident, a state as privileged as Texas is and as large as it is, to say we are not going to let our public education system fail. We will do whatever it takes. We will collaborate with districts that are succeeding to make sure that public schools take precedence over any private school. It is beyond me why a taxpayer would let their money go to a private entity when public schools are there for the purpose to serve our kids. To me, it is a huge cop-out. And I just thought I'd say that just because Ito got my blood going. So.
Thank you, Trustee Suarez. Any other comment? Trustee Saldivar.
We just got an alert, as you know, today that House Bill 100, which is one of several bills, but this one, aside from the appropriations overall, Senate Bill 1 and House Bill 1, this is the first one to go up when it talks about the enrollment-based method of funding, which we had proposed a resolution, as you know, this board did, along with many other boards in the state of Texas. And it became part of the Texas Association of School Boards list of bills that we wish to see passed before the legislature. And so it's making its way. But the concern, and the reason I raise it, is that the voucher proponents are eyeing this bill to put an amendment to it. And so while it serves what we had hoped for, which could give us anywhere from, $9 to $10 million, más o menos, in additional funding if it's based on enrollment, and this is one that we really are interested in, there's this chance that they could put a voucher amendment to it. Do you have anything more on it, Ms. Felix?
Correct, but I want to clarify, right now, what's kind of going through with the enrollment is more of a special populations versus the refined ADA. So those are the components that we may be seeing increases, which will help us with the indirect costs, but refined ADA as a whole, right now, hasn't gotten that traction for enrollment, but our special populations have. So
Okay.
that's where we're going to see that distinction between those programs.
All right, because the version of the Bill 100 I'm reading, it doesn't mention special population.
Well, we get our, from Region 1 and our consultants, so that's what they've been working out.
And that's
But
true.
yes,
In
but-
the other bills, that is, but the general finance bills did have,
Yes.
and that was.
And there's a couple of bills that are going, and they did become notable.
Mhm.
But yes, the words we're hearing is that they may be focused more on the special pops, but we're hopeful, we're very hopeful.
Well, this is one I'm going to obviously watch because
Yes, oh.
this is through TASB, that they were saying this is one of the first ones that actually talks about membership instead of enrollment. And it may be that, we'll find out, because
Yes,
it's going to be heard on Wednesday. But the main purpose of my point is that almost every finance bill coming forward from education is they're going to be trying to put amendments to it to include these vouchers. So we got to stay vigilant as we continue to move forward. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, none being heard, we'll move on to item 15C1, discussion and possible action on the competitive seal proposal, number 2023-1040, James Nicky Rowe High School natatorium improvements. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration solicited proposals for a natatorium improvements at James Nicky Rowe High School. We have Ms. Alejandra Gonzalez, our Assistant Superintendent for District Operations, and Mr. Ruben Trevino, our Executive Director for FMO, that are available to answer any questions, and administration is recommending action on this item.
What say ye, board?
Which one item is this?
Item 15C1.
I move to approve. Oh, second.
We have a motion by trustee Suarez and a second by trustee Saldivar. Any comments, questions, concerns?
Well, you know, as we know, we got the packet, and one of the concerns I had is it didn't have the list of the objectives in the packet. Obviously not, because it was previously discussed. So I reached out to Mrs. Gonzalez and also to Mrs. Trevino, and I got that today. And I think it's important to note that this is a part of $1 million package. And I was a little concerned when I looked at it, because you see $1,200,000, which was the bid. And then you see 900 and change, which was part of the assessment or the evaluation of the group that was looking at it. But it was negotiated down to the 785,000. So I was saying, why are they three different figures in three different documents? And that's why. So that got cleared up, and I appreciate you all doing that. But that's not all that's being spent on this. We previously had spent money on the roof, and that had already been addressed, and that's being resolved. And there's apparently some additional segue money that's being spent, and this is being handled by the athletic director, dealing with the lockers and the like. So that's a little bit separate on, because these are concerns we've all heard. So I kind of wanted to know where is this all taking us. But the important thing is, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is replastering the pool, right? That's what we're doing here. That's part of it. The other is to moving all the chlorinator and the heating and the pumps are outside now, not inside the structure.
Yes, sir. The base bid included all the pool equipment, including the new heaters, new pumps, new pump system, new chlorinators. We now have a UV light system, state-of-the-art, that's going to be going in there treating the water. We also are moving the chemical room to the exterior of the building. And we had as two alternates also to be able to replaster the warm-up pool and the big pool as well. And everything's included in the price that we're presenting today.
Good, good. Now, one of the concerns I had is there were some deducts there, and I'm kind of wondering, well, what are we not doing that maybe the parents and the department heads wanted to do, but these were found to be by the expert not needing to be replaced, like the flooring tile.
Correct. There's some, we added some alternates in there to see how much the budget would, take us to, or the pricing. And one of them was the tiles that you see out there, and swapping them out for a new epoxy type flooring. At this point, the consultant an engineering firm determined that, it's not needed at this point. And the other one was an evacuator system or a ventilation system that goes in and around the pool areas, which was also, we were wanting just to get a price. It's a third-party system that goes in, and now we know, where we stand with those upgrades. In meeting with our swimming coordinator, Coach Patch, Mr. McClenny, myself, discussing all the different options, meeting with the contractor as well. When we entered negotiations, we determined that this was the best value for the district and within our budget.
So the issues that family and friends, we've all heard them, and we've heard them here in comments, including today. These issues will all be resolved. You won't get that murkiness in the pool. You won't get it where they're about to practice in March, February, and when it's still cold, but the pool isn't heated. These should all be addressed by all of these upgrades and changes that are being proposed here.
Yes, sir.
And what's the timeline to get it all completed?
Timeline right now, we're looking at finishing it up hopefully by December. Yes.
One of the issues that has come up, and we've heard it, but it's not part of this package, but I understand it's going to be addressed differently, is the actual scoreboard. Apparently some panels aren't working correctly.
The actual scoreboard has about 3 or 4 different panels that are within the same system, but we already have a vendor coming out to look at it, and that should be taken care of as well.
That was installed under the direction of the board about 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
Yeah, what's the normal life expectancy of that unit, and is it something that needs to
Life expectancies on typical scoreboards like that could range. This is a video board. It's inside a humidified environment. I would say between a 10 to 15-year lifespan because of the environment and the chemicals that it's in. But we are looking at it, and it's something minor that should be completed. And we already are processing the work, to get done.
All right. I just want to thank everyone involved, Mr. McClenny, everyone, yourself, Ms. Gonzalez, obviously the parents that have probably been, part of the communication process in making these decisions, that we can finally address the current one. And if opportunities present themselves, as we move forward with another facility, a natatorium is the term being used, we'd still have this one available for competitions and training and the like. So it would not be a replacement of, it would be an addition to.
Correct.
Is any future plans, any further discussion. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Trustee Aliceta.
As what Trustee Saldivar just mentioned, during public comment, people are always saying, oh, that we're in discussions with the city, we're in discussions with the city. We're not.
Yeah.
And so I just think that we need to be very clear. We're not in discussions to build a natatorium. That's not part of, I just want to make that very clear that we're working on our natatorium, but we're not in discussions with the city of McAllen to build another natatorium. Just want to make that clear.
Yeah. Those discussions unfortunately broke down in 2017, 18.
After Mayor Darling.
And then, yeah, exactly. And sadly, there was strong opposition at that time, which was a surprise. So if anything is, I think this board needs to, and we're kind of getting off, but just make it very clear since it was raised, is that, this is part of our facility education master plan, has to take into place and discuss these things before we can even begin to go to anybody else. So there's still a lot of work to be done. I did notice and I may be looking at it wrong, but in the contract terms, I see a different firm listed on here. So I don't know if that needs to be corrected. So just let them. Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Trustee Vela.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Trevino, real quick. Of the objectives that were not done in this project, tile, you said humidifier, if in the future we decide to do those, will anything we're doing in this project hamper the ability to do those in the future?
No, sir. The evacuation system is something that can be done at a later time. It's not tied into the existing components that we're doing. It's completely separate and apart. Okay. And the other is the actual flooring on the exterior of the pool area. So these are components that we can always come back and revisit when budget's in place.
Without having to undo something we're doing this.
Correct.
All right,
yes,
thank
sir.
You. Thank you, Mr. President.
Trustee Alvarado.
Great discussion, and I'm glad that this has been resolved. And just to piggyback off Trustee Aliceta's point, I do want to add, though, the city commissioners are being contacted by people in the community. I've spoken to one city commissioner in particular. He didn't know I was coming off the board, but we had a discussion about would we be interested in possibly partnering up, doing something in front of the row where they build it or whatever. So I know there's interest on their part. So what I asked Dr. Gonzalez is, if they're interested and this board is interested down the road, that, you know, we possibly discuss it with them, because I know we did have that joint meeting, you know, and it fell through because we were trying to get, you know, trying to attract UTRGV, but there's still a need. I'm hearing from some swimming parents, even if you build another facility, they still like to have row, because it can be a practice where you know, the day of a meet, they can still warm up there and then go over there, and then our junior high teams also don't have a place to go, and this would be a good facility. And I think Dr. Gonzalez, last time you discussed robotics, underwater, you know, I can't even think of the term, underwater programs for
welding.
Welding, thank you. It was the tip of my tongue. So there's a lot of opportunity, but yes, there's nothing formal, but they have, I think they probably approached some other board members as well to see if we'd be interested, but obviously the right is through the administration and seeing if there's something that we can do down the road. So I told the community too, it's nothing that's gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take, you know, it's gonna take time.
Yes, sir.
I mean, yeah, I've had several conversations, but I'm very cautious that I recognize my limitation. I don't speak for this board.
Yeah.
This board speaks for this board, and we have not had any formal conversations as of yet to develop a facility education master plan to incorporate an auditorium, much less go to anybody to talk about it. And we need to do that, because otherwise we're going to get sideways like we did last time, real fast.
Agree.
Any potential renovations to maybe the restroom facilities that are there within the natatorium complex?
Those current restrooms are being upgraded. They've already had some of the partitions upgraded, and the lockers are also getting upgraded to the new type of lockers, which are a hard plastic vinyl type, and we're getting rid of the original metal lockers that have been there.
Okay. And I know that on competition days, we have a tendency to use the road gym as a spillover for those athletes that aren't competing yet. Will that continue?
If needed, that'll be up to, you know, at that time, depends on how many teams are invited, you know, how many swimmers are out there competing, and we'll see if we need the gym or the ROTC building. That's usually a decision made by the athletic department.
Okay. And the last thing is a sound system in there would be great, because
Sound system's already in place.
A new one? Okay.
Just a follow-up, and I'm sorry, Mr.
Go ahead, trustee.
Been to a few meets, and the one meet I went, it wasn't very packed, I guess. I'm trying to use the right word. There's no seating, but I've heard different parents talk about there's enough seating. There's not enough seating. Do we have that issue, Mr. McClaney? We do? There's not enough seating. Is there any type of what are your thoughts? You know, what can we do to fix it in lieu of not building a new one, right?
Well, when there's a lot of teams there, the spillover's over at the road gym.
And they just watch it from there.
Yes. So a lot of times, like last year when we had district, we had it live stream in the gym, so the participants, the actual people participating could watch. And so that is going to be an issue every time. There's just not enough seating. So we have to house them over there, and then when they come in for their events, that's when they come in and get ready.
But as far as the parents, is there enough seating for parents?
Yes, if the participants are in the road gym, there's enough room for the parents overall.
Okay.
But not having enough seats is a good problem to have.
Absolutely.
That means that we have the participation there.
Yes.
I think the one meet, there was a problem, it was just a coordination. There was a wrestling at the same time swimming, so there wasn't an overflow, and happened to be in the area, and they're like, look, sir, I can't even get in. But I think that was that's way before your time.
Right.
We haven't had those issues in a long time.
And then a lot of times, basketball season's going on,
right.
so you got Saturday games, so there has to be coordination there. We've also moved, instead of playing at home on certain swim meets, we get them to play away, and we'll flip-flop sites and different things like that.
That's awesome.
And we do have a new sound system in there. It's been taken care of. We got a new AC also over the top of the area where the offices are, and then the other main AC has been completely repaired.
I'm glad you bring this up, Mr. McClenny, because amongst swim parents, the complaint is how hot and humid it is within the natatorium.
Yes.
Would you explain the science behind that?
It's going to be hot because it has the temperature of the pool. Your air temperature is going to be a little bit higher. So, for instance, If the pool temperature is 78, the air temperature is going to be around 78 to 80. Most of us don't keep our AC on at our house at 78 to 80. If you go in fully clothed, it's going to be hot. District was at the big natatorium that was just built, and it was warm. That's the reality in a swim area. When kids get out of the pool, they're shivering because they're cold. But anybody that is a participant there as a fan, fully clothed, you're going to be hot. That's the reality.
So the reason the temperature is there is for the safety of the kids when they get out of the pool?
Yes, yes. And the swim association, U.S. Swim Association, that's their requirement. You want the air temperature to be a little bit higher than the pool temperature. So that's the reality in pool areas. Pool areas will be hot. That's the reality. But they're not hot for the kids.
Right. All right. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. Any further questions? Ms. Gonzalez.
Regarding the name, they have a DBA. That's why there are two different names on there.
Thank you.
All right.
Doing business as.
Take the vote.
Thank you, ma'am.
Clarifying acronyms.
Administration is requesting action on this. We have Trustee Suarez and Trustee Saldivar who has seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 7-0. Item 15E, discussion and possible action of the travel for Superintendent Dr. Gonzalez.
I move to approve. I think it's in the packet. What's happening with the HEB, isn't it?
Yes, we were fortunate. I was selected to be a statewide judge for the teacher divisions for the HEB Excellence in Education Award. So that's a very, very big honor for our district for us to go act on the judging side, since we were selected recently as the top large school district in the state by HEB. So it is definitely a compliment.
It's my understanding they pay all the expenses here, so there's no district funds for this travel.
That's right, sir.
That's what I saw.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 7-0. Item 15F1, this is the annual announcement of continuing education of board members. A provision of the Texas Education Code requires that the president make an announcement on continuing education of board members at the last meeting before an election of trustees. So, under the State Board of Education rule, completing required continuing education each year of service is a basic obligation and expectation of any sitting board member. As board president, I'm required to announce the name of each member who has completed the required continuing education, has exceeded the required continuing education, and is deficient in meeting the required continuing education. The requirements for training are measured as of the first anniversary of the date of the trustee's election or appointment, or 2-year anniversary of his or her previous training as applicable. There are 7 training areas for board members: continuing education, local district orientation, orientation to the Texas Education Code, post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code, team building, additional continuing education, evaluating student academic performance and setting goals, identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children, and school safety. Number 1, local district orientation. No new board members were required to complete the local district orientation training for the time period covered by our announcement. Item number 2, orientation to the Texas Education Code. No new board members were required to complete local district orientation training for the period covered by this announcement. Item 3, post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code. The following board members have completed post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code training: Trustee Sam Saldivar Jr., Trustee Debbie Crane Aliceda. The following board members are deficient in meeting the required post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code training: Trustee Conrado Alvarado, Trustee Daniel D. Vela, Trustee Marco Suarez, Trustee Sofia Peña, and Trustee Tony Forina. The following board members are deficient in meeting the required team building training: all 7 of us. Mr. Saldana, do I have to go name by name, or are we good with just all 7? Okay. As long as the record is clear. Thank you. Item 5, the additional continuing education. The following board members have completed the additional training continuing education requirements: Trustee Debbie Crane Aliceda, Trustee Conrado Alvarado, and Trustee Tony Forina, Trustee Sofia Peña, Trustee Sam Saldivar Jr., and Trustee Marco Suarez. Following board members are deficient in meeting the required additional continuing education. Trustee Daniel D. Vela. Item number 6, evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. The following board members have completed the biannual training on the evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. Trustee Conrado Alvarado, Trustee Sam Saldivar Jr. The following board members are deficient in meeting the required biannual training on evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. Trustee Daniel D. Vela, Trustee Debbie Crane Aliceda, Trustee Marco Suarez, Trustee Sofia Peña, Trustee Tony Forina. Identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children. The following board members have completed the biannual training on identifying and reporting abuse and trafficking. All 7 of us have completed it. Item number 8, school safety. The following board members have completed the biannual training on school safety. Trustee Sam Saldivar Jr. and Trustee Debbie Aliceda. The following board members are deficient in meeting the required biannual training on school safety. Trustee Conrado Alvarado, Trustee Daniel Di Vela, Trustee Marco Suarez, Trustee Sofia Peña, Trustee Tony Forina. Exceeding the required continuing education. Trustee Conrado Alvarado exceeded the amount of required continuing education training by 11.5 hours. Trustee Debbie Crane Aliceda exceeded it by 9.5 hours. Trustee Tony Forina exceeded the amount by 19.5 hours. Trustee Sofia Peña exceeded the required amount by 7.5 hours. Trustee Sam Saldivar Jr. exceeded the required continuing education training by 30.25 additional hours. Trustee Marco Suarez exceeded the amount of required continuing education training by 8 additional hours, and Trustee Daniel D. Vela exceeded the amount of required continuing education training by 4.75 additional hours.
Good job, Sam.
After 16 years, he's taken them all.
Apparently, there was 1 or 2 that you might have missed, but we'll let it slide this time.
I got 2 weeks to finish.
That was gonna be my question,
triple
Mr.
dog dare
Sedania.
you to do it.
There are a few classes, or one that I was taking and I haven't finished, but it says they're on the anniversary when we came in. So technically, we still have
Couple of weeks.
couple weeks.
Yep.
Can we come back and update this?
It should be updated because I did a few, like I tried to cram in a few, trying to catch Sam, no way. But I crammed in a few in the last couple of days.
And most of them are online, so we can, I didn't realize they're online. So.
Just blame it on a teacher. She got me into reading, so I read.
All right, moving on to
I'd like
item.
Put this on the agenda for next time, Natalie, so we can update it, so give us 2 weeks. Thank you.
Boy, I'm
Item-
gonna come back with a ton.
I'm gonna stay up all night and do all of them.
Would it now be the right time to do the team building? Is that, item 15F2, discussion and possible action of travel for Board of Trustees. Administration is recommending action on this item. I believe that's for the South Padre Island, Rospa and San Antonio Summer Leadership Conference. Do I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion by Trustee Aliceta and a second by Trustee Peña. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
The ayes carry it, 6-1.
I don't want y'all traveling without me. I'm sorry, I had to do it. I apologize.
The
I'm
lone
sorry.
descent.
Item 15F3, approval of the Board of Education meeting minutes. Administration is recommending action on this item.
I move A through D. I second Trustee Vela.
A through D, the motion by Trustee Vela, the second by Trustee Aliceta. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Mr. President, I'm sorry. For the record, I am voting for the travel. Okay, it was just a joke. So let the record reflect. It was just a joke.
We'll let the record reflect that that was a
I don't want the
7-0
CO
vote.
there not to think that I want to travel.
So we have a 7-0 vote on the board meeting minutes. Schedule of future meetings.
I apologize.
16A, the regular board meeting, May 8th, 2023, 5 p.m. here at the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom of the Administration Building.
Mr. President,
Yes,
I have
ma'am.
some issues with these dates. Considering the travel to the island for trustees at South Padre, which is May 19th to the 20th, what we're going to be voting on is the dates of when we're swearing in the new trustees and the new dates. So if the election is May 6th, we have a board meeting on May 8th that they will not be sitting at. Then we have a board meeting on May 15th that they will not be sitting at. May 17th is by our legal, that's the earliest that they could be sworn in. if they were sworn in by May 17th, they would be able to go to training at South Padre Island the 19th and 20th, and they would be able to not only get trained, as we all know, we need lots of hours, but they would also be able to meet their fellow trustees from the valley. I think that we should rearrange the calendar so that they get sworn in before South Padre Island, because it doesn't make any sense to send Trustee Alvarado and Trustee Vela to
Mr.
the island.
Saldana,
That was
you,
my point, and we did have a legal, and it is it's our policy. We do have to canvass for 10 days.
11 days.
11 days, but after that, then we could, but is it our policy that we wait? It's
No.
just a date that we set. So this board could change the date for the swearing in.
The only legal requirement is the canvassing.
Yeah, and that was my point for the last time, is that because then it puts a lot of strain, because then we can move the workshops later, and, administration's busy with graduations, and it's just me, it makes sense to move it up. I mean, I wasn't trying to
No.
create any issues. I think it solves it to what you're saying, because Trustee Regalado can't go to the beach until she's sworn in.
To me, the date of Wednesday, the 17th, which is the 11th day, that's a Wednesday, if that could be the reorganization and the swearing in, or the oath or all that, that makes it Wednesday before they leave Friday to the island, should their calendars permit it. And then that way they can attend the May 22nd board meeting, because the way it is right now, they can't attend a third board meeting, the May 22nd board meeting.
That's correct.
If I could clarify a couple of things, is in the past, what we've done is that we'll already know who's been elected on that. And so the administration in the past, what they do is they hold the spots based on those individuals. They'll visit with those individuals. And in one particular case, we know, unless something dramatically occurs, it will be Ms. Regalado, and can already.
It's happening.
Well,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm kidding.
Yes.
I know what you're saying.
And so, but the point of the matter is, correct me if I'm wrong, you normally would kind of talk to the individuals and see if they're interested, and then you set a place for them in a hold already at the island, both with RASBA and also with the hotel. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But they still can't go
she can't
unless
go.
they're
She's not
sworn
sworn
in.
Well, the swearing in is going to be,
The
oh, that's right,
22nd.
I am so sorry, you're
Right.
right. We have it right now on the 25th, it should be moved up to the 17th.
It needs to be moved up to
Yeah.
Wednesday the 17th.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Or it could be Monday the 15th. We're already at the auditorium for recognitions. It could be at 5.
I like your idea better.
To 5:30.
You may not have the results back from the county by.
That's 9 days.
Less than 11 days because you're counting, you're depending on the county.
I agree.
If we make a motion, because I agree with what Trustee Ella said, I think it needs to be that 17th. Is it sufficient for us to have a motion, second, and vote on it? To move it?
To move up the oath of office meeting from the 25th to the 17th.
Based on your legal interpretation.
You could move for that today, yes.
Okay.
Based on the agenda items as far as setting future meetings.
Yes. So I move that we
And I'll
move that
second
date
it.
to the 17th.
And I'll second it. I don't think the board members, if, the new board members, you at least have 2 coming in for Mr. Villa, and I don't think they'd have an issue. I think they would appreciate the opportunity to go to the island. And also to San Antonio, because there is some good training for them for new board members, so it just puts the wheel in motion. So.
Yeah, that was nice when we all got elected and we were able to go to that first one at the island. It really was, because there were a lot of other board members that were being elected as well.
And then it gives Dr. Gonzalez a chance to change back some of the workshops to not have everything so rushed at the,
So the recommendation for 16C, the May 17th, 2023, 5:30 PM meeting is to canvass the elections, the oath of office, and the reorganization of the board leadership.
That's my motion, yes. And I would like to amend my motion and add that item 16F, the board workshop on Friday, May 26th of a 3-day weekend, I think that has to be moved, and we can do it the graduation day on Tuesday, May 30th. We could do it at 5 o'clock before we do the Lamar options, and then we do the Chief. We've done workshops in the past before graduations. I think it's insensitive to have staff come on that Friday evening. So I amend my motion to 16F, that we move the May 26th at 5:30 to Tuesday, May 30th at 5 PM.
I'm okay with that.
So you're seconding it?
Yeah, I second it. So, yeah, I accept it.
I know, but I'm the second on the previous one, so.
Thank you.
Yes.
For a friendly amendment.
Until the day he's gone, he's voting.
Yes.
Well, because I had seconded, but
Thank you.
yes.
No.
Mr. Alvarado.
So then the friendly amendment is for 16F to take that May 26, 2023, 5:30 PM budget workshop, schedule it to May 30th, 5 PM, ahead of the Lamar Options graduation ceremony.
Does that work with you, with y'all presenting?
We did move it so we could have the opportunity for the new board members to join it, but I think, what about the week after, where, the 17th? Because we originally had one scheduled for the 17th.
Oh, that's fine.
But we could probably do the week after. We didn't want to interfere with graduation, because I know previously we had one there and we were rushed.
Why don't we just take it off the calendar right now, and then
And then
y'all
we
come
can
back with a date?
Well, for the dates.
Yes.
Well,
Go ahead.
from a point of order, I think what we ought to do is rescind your amendment, and let's deal with the
My first
canvassing and the vote, and then we'll do a separate motion on item 16F, and that way it's clean.
I rescind my amendment.
And you rescind your second.
I rescind.
Sorry.
So back to the original motion
Yeah.
And I'll
of
second
May
it.
17th.
Yes.
So the schedule of future board meetings, regular board meeting May 8th, special board meeting May 15th, special board meeting May 17th, regular board meeting May 22nd, special board meeting for May 25th has been scratched, and the board workshop of May 26th has been scratched.
Sounds good.
But now there's a motion that brings the oath of office, 16E, as part of 16C,
Right, that we had discussed,
but we haven't voted.
right. So can we get a motion to bring up the oath of office and the reorganization of board leadership to the May 17th canvass the election meeting?
We already have that motion.
We have a motion. Can we get, if you're in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 7-0.
Mr. President, I move that we do not have, under 16F, we not have the board workshop scheduled for May 26, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Saldivar and a second by trustee Aliceda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 7-0.
Mr. President, I do, just for an inquiry, how soon does Dr. Gonzalez plan to have a board workshop for the board to discuss the 6 items that we previously passed in the resolution, so that we can begin to have conversations about those items?
Let me get with the team. I'll get back with the board. I know that we're going to meet the deadline by far, but I will send out an email to the team tomorrow morning.
Well, my concern about that, and we're the 14th day and we have 31 days, is item number 3, which was assisting the board to come up with a request for professional services, that the board has to get together, and we have to decide what is it that we want to be done as far as human resources. And then once that goes out, then whenever those come back, we have to have a board meeting for us to interview or select who we want to interview to do that work. So at the very least, we have to meet as a board to decide what is it that we want to include in the request for professional services.
Yes, sir.
And we definitely need to have some feedback and conversations, because I know when I wrote that resolution, and I thank the board for approving it, we had a lot of conversation about what the meaning of fraternization was, and I gave you my thoughts, but I don't know we didn't get into what everybody else thought was important. So the board, we need to discuss what should be included in fraternization. And then obviously the one with our legal counsel, we definitely, and that one clearly was noted in there that there would be a workshop just to discuss when, at least have the understanding as a board and as an administration, under what circumstances should we be asking for an attorney general's opinion, because I think we're asking for that too much, but that's just my opinion. And I think we're not comfortable with the fact that anytime the public has a right to know, we were asking for attorney general opinion, and then later on we found out from the attorney general, no, you should have released it in the first place. And I think we're trying to clarify that, and that's another workshop in and of itself.
So tomorrow
we need these
morning, the executive leadership team is meeting. We can iron out all the dates, and then we can get with Natalie. She could put out the dates that we've established to see if that's something with regard to just dates that are tentative that work for our board.
because I think all of these is we all hope, and I believe we all can work together to, but it requires us all to come together, and it's not all on you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, a lot of it's on us.
Can I suggest that when you do those, you don't create additional days, you just additional times, like instead of coming at 5:30, we come in at 4:30 or something. It's just a lot of
Yes, ma'am.
time for
Or in some cases, when you have to have a meeting after the meeting.
or after the meeting.
Yeah.
But that way y'all don't have to keep coming in every day of the week.
We normally vote on the schedule of future meetings, so we did move to the 17th. We did yours, taking away 26. Do you want a motion to approve the way it is, Mr.?
Yeah,
No.
you would need to have one for all, so everybody's aware of what all the meetings are that the board approved, yes.
Okay, so moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 7-0. Can I get a motion to adjourn? I have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second.
Did he move?
Yes.
At 8:16. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I think there ought to be a workshop before every graduation.
Yes,
Right?
right.
3-hour workshop
I
before.
agree. I
Motion to
second.
adjourn approved 7-0 at 8:16.
Good job, Mr. President.
Do you know the definition of